So the madness begins in Anthony's life when he was 1 year old and his dad slit his throat.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to describe? Can you even remember that
It's
going
weird.
back?
I don't remember the actual whole. I remember it in pictures, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I remember not the whole incident happening. I don't remember what happened. I don't remember what happened afterwards or beforehand. But I remember picture frames in my head. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Of my mad picking us up, picking me and my brother up, blood everywhere,
Mm.
and then leaving the house. And yeah, and that was, I didn't see him for a little while, but I have heard quite a few. Obviously, my mum told me reasons why that happened, um, but that's a bit personal to be putting out online. You know what I mean? But he was just no good, man. Why do you do that to your kids? Like,
Mm.
slice your throat is one thing, but then to pick your kids up whilst your neck's bleeding, a lot of clarity. You can imagine your neck being slit open.
So he grabbed you guys while he was going around with slit throat.
Yeah, picked us up. Love you, boys. Off you go.
So it
See
was
you
a
later.
suicide attempt, was it?
Well, you could call it that. It wasn't a bloody very good one, was it? Because he
Yeah.
lived.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? But yeah, stupid man, really. You know?
Yeah. And then the next incident was at age 3 with the
Yeah,
babysitter.
well, a lot happened between that. Obviously,
Yeah,
my dad
please go over it.
cut his throat. My mum obviously left him after that. You would, wouldn't you? He's a bloody lunatic. Why'd you do that?
Yeah.
So my mum's left him. So I've been aware anyway. So I've been told he was no good anyway. Never used to be good for my mum. He used to always run off with her money and stuff like that. So not a good guy. She'd give him rent money and he wouldn't freaking pay the rent, get her in debt, you know, so his morals weren't in check anyway. You know what I mean? So obviously after he left, my mum obviously carried on, innit? She carried on to live with me and my brother. And then she met my stepdad, and that's basically history between them. And then
Do you know how they met?
I believe in the pub somewhere
In
in
the pub.
Kilburn, something like that. That's how it used to be with the old Irish lot, innit? You know what I mean? Because obviously my stepdad's Irish, my mum's like Irish descent sort of thing. And basically them two got together. They've been together a couple of years. I was around free mark, and my mum's gone out to do something, run to the shop or done some errand or something. She left me with a babysitter. Babysitter abused me, and then obviously when my mum come, I told my mum. My mum went to the police.
Is this a male or a female babysitter?
Male babysitter. But the story gets, see, what I never spoke about with the other guy that we done a podcast on. The story's mad. This is a whole mental situation. Being abused is one thing, but how the police dealt with it and the social services and the hospital is a completely, the way they fucking done it was a mess. So I've been abused. My mum's took me to the hospital and they didn't believe me at first. So my mum's like, yeah, like this is bullshit. He was abused. My 3-year-old ain't going to tell me this. And if that didn't happen, so obviously then she wants a second opinion. She got the second opinion. They said, yeah, I was abused. So then the police got involved. Now the police got involved and basically what they've done is the police have then threatened my mum. This kid that abused me, this 14-year-old boy that abused me, was apparently a rent boy and was in London, in and around the Paddington area, and basically because that happened, he would pop over and chill with us. I don't know how this all worked out because I was a kid, you know what I mean? But this is what I've been told, that he used to come over and play with us and all that and chill with us, and then obviously then he's abused me, gone to the authorities. They've not believed my mum. So then we got another doctor. They've said, yep, it definitely did happen. So then the police got involved. The police have then turned around and threatened my mum and said my mum is not allowed to go nowhere near because this is the neighbour that abused me. The babysitter was the neighbour. So we've now been threatened. The police said to my mum that she needs to move house. Yeah, this is mad shit. This is deep stuff, man. Proper deep. When I sit back and I think about it, it's fucking terrible how they treated my mum. So there's no injustice. I never got injustice for this at all, ever. So then they've basically threatened my mum. My dad apparently was on the scene at this time. I can't remember him. Don't remember seeing him, but I remember being told that he was run down and tried to smash up this pedo git, yeah? Which is understandable because if anyone touched my kid, they wouldn't be trying, they'd be dead. There would be no trying about it. I would have killed them and that would have been the end of the story. But on this occasion, they didn't They didn't do enough anyway in my eyes. But yeah, the police have basically told my mum, if anything happens to these people, then you'll be arrested. So there's social services got involved. And my mum had her hell with the social services. Obviously being abused is one thing, but then having social services come in and try and just fucking undermine everything she did. Like, she was a hard worker. All right, she weren't, like, I don't blame her for my abuse, and that she did not know that geezer was a nonce, innit? We didn't know that. She didn't know that. But then what social services did, because I started acting mad, started doing crazy things, like hanging out the window, like climb out the window, hang out the window like a 3-year-old lunatic. You know what I mean? So you're hanging out the window, you're setting fires to the house, you're pulling washing machines out. I burnt my mum's house down, so the whole house is literally ablaze. We nearly died in that. And then it was mad because whilst I was doing that, I was getting treatment because I started to become a real handle. Like, people couldn't deal with me. I was very aggressive. I smashed the whole thing. I smashed everything up, literally smashed everything to pieces. And I started going to these places for kids with psychiatric problems. And I've ended up going to these places, and it was weird. On this one particular time, I was being restrained by 4 grown men in a white padded room. Actually, in a white padded room, it's one of these special needs schools for kids that are going off key, off their nut. And obviously I was going off my nut. So they've put me into this padded room, 4 grown ass men, big men like ourselves, you know what I mean? Handling a 5-year-old boy, like restraining him. Obviously that's traumatizing in itself. Could you imagine having 4 people, like big men, holding a 5-year-old kid down, and all he wants to do is get to his mum?
Yeah.
You know, so and that went on for years, back and forth from one place to the next, from one institute to another. And basically, in the end, social services said to my mum, it's like, you've got a choice. You can either give him to us and have some kind of control over his life, or we're just going to take him. So my mum's like, I don't want to lose him completely. She can't take care of me because obviously I'm too volatile. I'm a fucking danger to everybody. I'm smashing shit up. I'm burning stuff. I'm hanging out of windows. I'm causing a lot of grief. You know what I mean? So then where she's done is she sent me to boarding school. It wasn't, I got told it was voluntary, but the way I understand it now is it weren't voluntary for my mum. It was either you give him up or we're taking him. So basically, I've ended up going to this boarding school, which was out in a place called the Marbury Bush in Oxford, which I remember as being a fucking madhouse. Like, the gaff it was just a big building, a big white building in the middle of nowhere. And it was mad. The kids were doing mad shit there. The staff were doing mad shit there. It was just a bad place. And the memories that I have from there are not nice. Like, there was a lot of abuse in them places, like things that I won't talk about because I'll end up crying there, and I'm not come here to do that, you know what I mean? And obviously I'm a fucking strong man. I still got emotions, you know what I mean? But yeah, so we've gone through boarding school. I was there for a couple of years or so, and I've ended up doing the mass runaways, like the kids. Like, basically, you imagine you've got a boarding school with 200, 300, 400 kids in it. There'd be like me and 20 other kids, and we're all like 6 years old. So you can imagine these nutty 6-year-olds, yeah. And we ended up, we managed to just do mass runaways, literally. Like, so you'd have like 3 members of staff trying to chase all these kids, and we'd just be scattering everywhere. We'd be over the fences, gone. Mad, good times, man. Well, funny times, as I can remember.
Yeah, gets you through the humour, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's how you got to remember it. If obviously you got all the good and all the bad, innit? But if you try and remember the good things, like the runaways, to be fair, I find that funny. You know, I look back at it and think, fucking hell, loads of little kids off doing a runner, like, get away from them lot. Funny times, man. Yeah.
So at some point, did you end up in the same place as Darren Jeffrey, the Rainbow Woods thing?
Where's that?
Darren Jeffrey was abused in one of these homes. I thought Ash said that you perhaps were in the same place as him, but maybe not.
I don't know that geezer's name, but okay. I was in quite a lot of homes. I was in the ones in central London. I was in Sherland Road, Beechcroft House, 4 Sherland Road, 5 Claverton Street, and loads around Westminster. Like, there's so many to mention. There's literally loads. Plus, I was in Streatham, South London. Where else was I? I was up in Crystal Palace.
And it got particularly bad in Kent.
Kent, yeah. Well, when I moved to Kent, basically what it was, I was in boarding school in Oxford for a good while, and then one night I was bored. I don't know what kept me awake, but I was up and I was rooting around the school trying to find shit to do, like being a little pain in the ass as I normally was. So anyway, I've got into the school. I managed to go into the office and I'm hunting around looking for stuff, and I found like a little cupboard where they keep all their car keys in it. So I steal the car keys. I go up, say goodbye to one of the girls that's there that I was talking to, one of my little buddies, and then I've got in the car and I've managed to get this car going. I was only young. I think I was around the 9 age, and I've got this car and I'm driving it up the lane in Oxford. I've ended up smashing into a fence. Waited there. Staff come and got me. So then I've been kicked out of that place, and that's when I've come back to London. And first of all, I went to Beach. I think it was Sherland Road first. And I don't know if that's the guy that went to that gaff, but I know I only found out later on in life that it was a bad gaff for kids. But where I was so volatile, like I was a violent kid, like I was a violent little child, you know what I mean? I was smash everything to pieces, and literally I was very angry. So like the pedo shit didn't really happen to me that much in them places. It's only when I got a bit older, when I moved to Kent, that's when that shit happened to me.
And the perpetrators in this case were a member of staff and also one of the residents?
Well, I believe it was a child from another care home because I was in boarding school for a few years before I went to Kent, and I met a kid there in boarding school, and he used to always play with dolls. He used to always play with Barbie dolls. It was weird. It was like, it weren't no norm, innit? Like us boys, we weren't playing with Barbie dolls. We were climbing trees and trying to break things up and all that. But this particular kid was always playing with Barbie dolls and whatnot. And then I've ended up meeting him in Kent, and I started chilling with him because obviously I'm like, fucking hell, I've met this geezer. I've known this guy. We was on boarding school together. Do you know what I mean? Thinking he was a pal and all that. And then obviously they've taken me out. I've gone out with this geezer. And we've met this other geezer, and then they've both ended up taking me out to some fields up in Kent, and they ended up abusing me. And I didn't say anything to no one. I didn't say nothing to no one for years, mate. I didn't say anything until I got to Dovegate, because like I was very ashamed of that. Like I was ashamed of that one. I felt dirty. You know what I mean? I felt ashamed. Like I felt ashamed about the first time when I was free, but you're free, innit? Because I was a bit older, I could have got away, and I blame myself because I didn't run. I didn't run away. I should have really gone crazy like I would at any other time, but I think fear is what allowed that shit to happen.
Do you still blame yourself, or have you like realised that you were very young
still?
No,
I definitely don't blame myself now. Obviously, I know that weren't my choice. Yeah. Obviously, I remember looking back at the feelings that I had at that time, and I was shitting my pants, man.
Of course, yeah.
You've got two bigger people. One's a grown man. I'm only like a kid. Yeah. I'm like 9 years old, mate. So I'm a little child, scared little kid. You know what I mean? They've took me out to this place, done nastiness, and then I had to live with that, and not tell anyone was a burden in itself, because Chrissy, who used to look after me, and I used to love this lady. This lady was like, she was like the only one who actually gave me real mother time, if that makes sense. So I had something to look forward to. So Chrissy was the one who showed me, and I couldn't tell her. I couldn't tell her because I felt so fucking disgusted that I just couldn't speak about it. And I didn't speak about it. I didn't speak about it until I got to, when was it? When I was in Dovegate, 2014, I think it was.